This week, fired FBI Director James Comey seemed to indicate that Attorney General Jeff Sessions was of interest in the Russia investigation.
Our judgment, as I recall, was that he was very close to and inevitably going to recuse himself for a variety of reasons. We also were aware of facts that I can't discuss in an open setting that would make his continued engagement in a Russia-related investigation problematic.
Okay, so that was last week. Now, today, the Attorney General will be grilled by the Senate. But our next guest says ignore the fallout and get to know that man.
Former counsel to the Senate Judiciary Committee, Brian Darling, has worked with Senator Sessions when he was Senator Sessions and now joins us. Brian, why do you think he's coming out there today?
Well, I think he's coming out there to set the record straight. And the Jeff Sessions I know is a good man. I mean, as a preliminary matter, we need to understand this. I do believe this is a witch hunt. It's a fishing expedition, and it's all politics by the Democrats. I think Jeff Sessions, as senators know, they served with him. He's a good man. He's an honorable man. He served the state of Alabama with distinction as a senator, and I don't think if you get any of these senators alone in a room, even Democrats, they would have a bad word to say about Jeff Sessions.
Yeah, but you know what happens when you inject politics into things, Brian. Also, we understand, according to Axios, apparently Senator Sessions is going to say that that conversation in February he had with James Comey didn't happen the way that James Comey described it last week, which is a big thing because James Comey, just as Mr. Sessions, will both be under oath. So then it becomes, who do you believe?
Right. It does become who do you believe, and also it comes down to memories and who remembers these conversations more specifically. But ultimately, do we really think that Jeff Sessions colluded with the Russians to fix the election? No. Nobody believes that. So what are we doing? And the Senate is supposed to be investigating collusion by the Russians or Russian interference in the American elections.
Everything you're saying could be true. Everything you're saying could be true. However, they're going to ask him two tracks. They're going to say, why'd you fire Comey when you're supposed to recuse yourself on Russia, number one? And number two, they're going to say, why'd you meet with Kislyak and not tell anybody? And up to the debate is a meeting in the Mayflower Hotel. Where do you think that's going? What are his answers there?
Well, first of all, nothing precludes the Attorney General, even if he's recused from the Russian investigation, from talking and consulting with the President about firing James Comey. I mean, the President has a right to fire James Comey, and he did. And there was no element of that that precludes that because it doesn't necessarily touch on the Russian investigation. With regards to this alleged meeting at the Mayflower Hotel, I mean, they both remember it differently, and to be honest, is this really a big deal? I mean, we're talking about the potential obstruction of justice. That's not what we're supposed to be investigating. We're supposed to be investigating collusion.
Sure. I hear you. He's got to have answers for it.
Yeah. Hey, Brian, let me ask you this. Ultimately, you said this is a fishing expedition, and you've got Robert Mueller on here, who is now the special counsel. He's been a longtime associate and pal with James Comey. Are you okay with him running the investigation?
Well, I think there are problems. I think there obviously are problems that he's hired a lot of individuals that contributed to Democrats. Also, he's very close with James Comey, and that creates a conflict of interest. I'm a little bit uncomfortable with it, but ultimately, this should be an investigation about Russian interference in the American election, not this bogus fishing expedition and this witch hunt to see if somehow these Jeff Sessions and others lied under oath.
Yeah, and you know what? I thought both sides were remarkably nonpartisan with Comey. You could tell where they stood, but I thought they were very professional. They go in front of the same committee today with Warner as the ranking member and Senator Burr as the chairperson. So I expect a lot of that today, and especially with a guy they know so well.
Yeah, expect a lot of partisanship. Republicans are going to be trying to get to the bottom of Russian interference in the election, and the Democrats are going to make it all about 2018 and trying to muddy up the election, beat up on Sessions as a proxy war against the Trump administration.
Sorry to cut you off, but lastly, do you think it's true that he offered his resignation?
You know, those are private conversations. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But whoever leaked that private conversation, that person should be fired. This stuff happens in every administration, and that was a private conversation. It was dishonorable for somebody to violate that confidence.
All right. Brian Darling joined us from our nation's capital. Brian, thank you very much.
Thank you.